Welcome to Console Kids Podcast. In this episode, we're taking a look at the year 2022. We're breaking down Arcade1UP's highlighted products, some of the good, some of the bad. We're going to try to keep it positive, but where it's bad, we're definitely going to be talking about where there's room for improvement in 2023. And if you work for Arcade1UP, listen up, take this link, hit that share button, and send it to all the other employees here. Read the comments, look at the live chat, and see what your customers are saying about your product so it can be improved in 2023. Now, I've been covering home arcade since 2018, since the beginning of Arcade1UP, iArcade, AtGames entering this field, and I've been doing this podcast for over a year now. Had a podcast with Retro Ralph called 1UP Weekly. We did that for over a year, and so I think there's some fun topics that are still left to be discussed when it comes to home arcade. And thank you everyone for wishing everybody well in the chat here. And thanks for stopping by. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is, first of all, right now, towards the end of 2022, there's still some deals that are going on. And this is what happened towards the last 2 weeks. No one really saw it coming. Some people got, and if you're in the live chat and you were able to get these incredible deals, we're talking about NFL Blitz for as low as $170 I've seen. Around mid-December, we started seeing these big price cuts, and that's what I was able to get. Blitz for that $389 earlier in December. I assembled it, started playing online. Now, this cabinet has been a controversy throughout the year because they announced it, they released it, and the online wasn't available yet. So it's the first time Arcade1UP did this, where they come out with a cabinet and all the features that are listed on the box are not actually available. And then they said something about, oh, we'll add it with DLC, or using different marketing terminology, but that's definitely a mistake. You want to be able to purchase these products and be able to play them right away. Like, think about it. A lot of times I will buy things from Amazon because I'm going to get it in 2 days or a day, and then I'm going to use it right away. That's part of the entire excitement of buying home arcade products, is getting the devices and then immediately playing with them and trying out all the features. But they did that twice this year with Blitz, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as well. But here is the crazy thing. Now, because perhaps, I don't know for sure, but perhaps because the Blitz cabinet wasn't online, and it seems as though that Sam's Club bought a ton of them, or maybe bought more than the customer demand was. At least that makes sense. And now Blitz is online, and the gameplay for Blitz is pretty fantastic. Tell me in the chat or comment below if you've had a horrible experience with Blitz, because so far, every single time I play online, it's a lot of fun. And that's a highlight from Arcade1UP, where they've done this twice, where they built a cabinet where the controls are really good. So they did that with the Star Wars cabinet right here. So the Star Wars cabinet, by a lot of people's opinion, is the #1 cabinet that Arcade1UP has ever released. And next year we should get a re-release. It was supposed to happen in December, but now it's, I guess, being pushed off. There's still hope, okay? Star Wars pun. But anyway, here's the deal. We're going to be able to see those deals. So coming into what I'm trying to say, well, I got lost there for a second, is what I'm trying to say is I want to make sure that you know that the deals are out there, because I suspect, and I have no evidence for this to be true, that we may still see some deals in the new year. We still may see some deals, because the people that I've been talking to, not Arcade1UP, but in retail, the people I've been talking about in retail are saying there's going to be deals that were normally for Black Friday still in January. And it's because of this, just the economy and how everything is working. So I want to make sure that I pass down all the deals that I know about. So thank you so much for the sponsor, eWin Racing. Now, I did a video on this before, but this is an example of them, pushing up the discount code. So I'm going to have a link in the description where you can watch this video, but also there's a link in the description where you can save 30% on the eWin Racing chair. I love this. Michael B loves their chair. Normally it's like 20%. I was able to haggle to 25, but now they bumped it up to 30% off. So you can actually do some incredible savings. And if you want to know more about the chair and how you can save money, there's going to be a link in the description for my review video of the actual chair. And thank you again, eWin Racing, for sponsoring this video. If you have their chairs, comment in the live stream or comment down below. Let everyone else know what your opinion is. They have a number of different models that you can get. I just went with the cheapest one, the Night version, and it's pretty decent. It's pretty nice. And in fact, I'm thinking about getting a second chair. No joke here. And I could take advantage. They're not giving me any additional discount or another free chair, but maybe I'll save that 30% because I got to set up a little game room over there. And you need, like a gaming chair to be able to sit down in front of that CRT, get that elevation just right. I'm thinking the couch won't be able to do that, but a chair like this, and frankly, I'm the only one that's going to be playing anyway. So again, thank you so much, eWin Racing, for sponsoring this podcast, and we will chat soon about that. So what about other deals that are going on? Well, we don't know much about other deals. Except for Sam's. It's got some incredible deals. They got the AtGames Legends pinball. Some people were able to pick that up. That's pretty exciting. And then there was this Blitz deal, which more people, this is an interesting one. Some people bought Blitz from Sam's Club, but they bought it for like $300. And then they've contacted customer support because there's so many people that are getting it for less than $200 or close to the bottom of the $200 that they're giving them like gift cards and refunds. So I've seen a number of posts of people showing and sharing their chat. They just go right onto Sam's Club and say, hey, I bought this Arcade1UP cabinet. I saw one that was really interesting. They just said, I bought this big item. That's all they said. They were super generic. I bought this very big item, and now it's cheaper. Can you give me the price difference? And then they were like, how about we'll give you $68 in credit, like a gift card. And they're like, yeah, that sounds good. I'll do that. So I want to make sure that's available if you ended up buying from Sam's Club but didn't get the deepest discount. Chat with Sam's online, see if they'll give you some type of kickback or whatever you call it, some type of discount, gift card, what have you. And then I've heard other people say, ask twice, because sometimes they're like, no, we can't do that. And then you just talk to the next person and they're like, yeah, I was able to do it. We got Fist of Love saying that he was able to get a refund on that. D-Love did that. Why are Canadians getting a sweet deal on Big Buck Hunter? Not fair. Okay, so which version is Michael B's version? He got the gold, like the biggest one. And so if you go, we're talking again about the sponsor here. If you go to the website, eWin, again, a link in the description, they'll have different models. I have the lowest model. It's like $160 if you want to get that one with all the discounts. And then the one that Michael B has, it's much more expensive, but it's for a big dude. And in his review, he's all like, I got this chair. I'm a big dude. But for my weight and everything like that, I can get the smallest chair, and it's pretty comfortable. Anyway, let's get back onto the slide. I got to really get into this because I'm 8 minutes into the video and we're at slide 2. So I'm gonna rush through this. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming to hang out on this special day, and thank you so much if you're watching on the replay to sit through all of my blabbering so far. So, second slide. I'm gonna rush through this, guys, and then we're gonna do some topics in the chat. So, in my opinion, the best cabinet of 2022 was the Yoga Flame. I have this cabinet. It's very nice, but here's to illustrate. It's not perfect. And if those in the live chat, you got a second, mention what your favorite cabinet is. Maybe it's the same, maybe it's something different. Here's the interesting thing about the Yoga Flame. It still has things wrong with it. There's a lot you could point out as things they could have done better. First of all, it's a 35th anniversary version. Not everyone's excited about a 35th anniversary version. I know Arcade1UP is just trying different stuff. And so the artwork itself is not like canon from our history, but it is canon in the sense that they used artists that were involved in Capcom and Street Fighter. So that's cool. But there could even be, they did make some improvements on the sticks, but now it's like, hey, well, why don't you give the buttons some love? They're still clone Sanwas, but they're the best clone Sanwas that we've seen from Arcade1UP so far. Getting into the territory of like, and maybe they are the same. I'd like to break it down. The AtGames Legends pinball. I think it's a different Baolane stick, but this one's pretty good. They definitely made an improvement on it. And there's always people I see in the chat or comment section. They're like, oh, a minimum Arcade1UP cabinet should be 24 inches on screen or 22 inches. None of the 17-inch stuff. And I agree in principle, but it's hard. Like the moment you say 24-inch in the chat, what are we talking about? Talking about now you're going with a widescreen monitor. I was thinking through this today, and in 2023, could we see Arcade1UP break the rule of always doing like a 4x3 just to get the increased size? I think there's some people that would want that. I'm not one of them, but let me play through it. If Arcade1UP released a cabinet that was a 24-inch IPS BOE monitor, I don't think it would be a ton of money for them to do that. Because the 24-inch, I think, is in high demand. It's high supplied. It's what AtGames use. It's an IPS. It's BOE. It's going to look good. It's just going to be wide. Now, it has been talked about in the past from streams that have John D on it that they are thinking about having a widescreen cabinet. And the two widescreen cabinets they've talked about is a Time Crisis 2, if they ever did a Time Crisis 2, which what I've heard is a Time Crisis 2 is not... is that right? Yeah, Time Crisis 2 is not happening, or not happening anytime soon, I should say. But if they did a widescreen, maybe they could do, you know, you could see both games at the same time. I don't know if that would really work. But the other one is if they did Shredder's Revenge. Basically a re-release of the TMNT Nickelodeon cabinet, except for this time, the TMNT cabinet would also have Shredder's Revenge on it. Now, that's an interesting one, because how would you do that with a widescreen monitor? Well, with a 24-inch widescreen for Shredder's Revenge, it'd be a port from, you know, the game Shredder's Revenge to Android. They probably do it on an Android platform. I think the other Turtles cabinet is an Android platform. And then they would just add bezels, like pretty cool TMNT artwork on the side, maybe sewers or something like that. And do it all online. That could be a cabinet that would come out. I don't know if they'll actually do it. We've heard rumors that they have the license for Shredder's Revenge. Whether or not they're going to exercise that license, I don't know. But that's what we're talking about with a 24-inch monitor. If they did a 24-inch monitor, there's a second positive thing that would come out of that. And that is the whole thing would be wider. It would be wider. Now, and MG mentions this in the chat. I'm sorry, I had this chat open for a long time. You can get a 22-inch 4x3. That's fine. If they can do that, that would be great. And what I've seen is the 4x3 22 inches are way more expensive. And so that may like limit their opportunity there. Actually, I mean, 22, that would require that the cabinet be wider. So it's an interesting thing, because take like a Golden Tee that has the 19-inch, that cabinet might actually be wide enough to do that 22-inch 4x3. That's interesting. Okay, anyway, so there's areas for improvement, but Arcade1UP's not there when it comes to like a 24-inch monitor. They haven't done that yet. So the artwork, but the marquee on these were great. Man, I got to keep going, right? Like, we're 14 minutes in. I got other slides. So I'm going to talk about some of the bad things that came out this year. And this is the point. I'm going to clip this and try to spam as many Arcade1UP employees that I know on Facebook. Here we go. The Mortal Kombat. Come on. You did the TN monitor on that one. So it looks great. The shape of it's great. Basina's not on it. We're kind of over that. This has been a topic in the home arcade space for 9 months now or whatever. I think people are just comfortable with the artwork. It is what it is, but it's something they could have improved. But the biggest thing they could have improved is that monitor. I don't know they made a mistake on which monitor they picked. For sure, no one like got it and played with it and said, that looks good, I'll give it my blessing. That didn't happen. It's just some buyer in some spreadsheet, and they're like, hey, I was able to knock down the price by $5 or whatever it was. Maybe it is more expensive. But yeah, Sony 4K is saying BOE forever. If there's another manufacturer besides BOE that does a better IPS screen at a lower latency, I think this one's pretty good. It's Console Fanboy says, I think it's their best product. What sets this aside is their unbelievable spectate and lobby system. They really love. And what are you talking about? That's sarcasm right there, because that's one of the problems with this cabinet, is that it doesn't have that spectate mode. We move on here, and we got the Golden Tee. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to start playing with this. Oh, this isn't working. I thought it would be working, but it's not working. Let me refresh. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm playing with a new tool that I built. This is like, I'm integrating the chat right here instead of the tool. It's not perfect. I'm going to work on it. Anyway, there's Console Fanboy. See, it does that green thing when it fades away. I'll fix that later. Anyway, running a quick test. So the next part on the slide here is Golden Tee, and then you got Blitz. And the answer to these things are pretty interesting. You got Golden Tee, which is their XL, which was $699. I ended up selling this, again, because it had a bad monitor. The monitor... Now, there's some people that are going to say that the monitor looks great when you look right in front of it, and everyone's going to be standing playing Golden Tee right in front of it. There's even some people that have said, like, look, when you're playing Golden Tee, just push it up against the wall so no one can literally be on the right side where the monitor is bad. And here's the thing. I think I agree. There's a ton of people that are with these cabinets, like let's say the Golden Tee, that are like, hey, it doesn't bother me. Cool. I get it. But imagine they came out with one that had the TN monitor and another version of the BOE. Same price. Which one would you buy? You'd probably buy the IPS screen BOE. No one's saying, I wish I could get the TN monitor. Right? Even these TN monitors, I tested out the latency on that. It's 14 milliseconds at the bottom. IPS is about 14 milliseconds as well. So when it comes to the response time of both their TN and their BOE, they seem fine. Actually, that reminds me. I've been wanting to do a video on response time from Arcade1UP monitors. I'll probably do that in 2023. It's been a fun topic. Blitz is an interesting one. Nearly a perfect cabinet, but it has a huge... It has a huge problem, is when they released it, it didn't come out with online. And here's the crazy thing about the Blitz cabinet. It's great, actually. I have it. I got it for $389, and the gameplay is really good. Now, again, comment below or in the chat if you have any problems with the Blitz. So far, it's working great for me. The only problems that I could... It's not really problems. It's things that I've noticed. Is that the actual gameplay of the field, I think they're polygons, and the characters are HD. They look great. It looks awesome. But whenever there's text on the screen, it looks like it's been scaled up. That's it. Like, if you're a developer that's working on the project, like, I don't know how the rendering engine works, and if those layers are from the ROM or something. I don't know. And you increase the assets, or... I know it's a native... running game, and so that's a little bit different. So I guess the ROM's probably not even part of it, but they took the original source code and recompiled it for the native Linux platform directly. I don't even think it's an Android port, is what I understand. It runs directly on Linux, so it's integrating directly with the graphics engine that's inside those PCBs, and it has 960p output from the native game. But again, the text looks like it's it's not a... This is me trying to be nitpicky. Like, I'm forcing myself. I'm like, that could be a little bit better, but it doesn't bother me. The sticks are great. The 49-way joystick, all four of them, they play great. There's a calibration menu if you have any issues with that. I didn't have to calibrate anything on mine. We did in Chicago when we played that. And the online, just having a great time with online. Playing with a couple friends. I'm currently like hidden friends only, but I'll probably open it up I'm trying to get better because it is a fun and addicting game. I've been playing about every day. I have time off right now. I've been playing it about every day. And so far, it's like my favorite new Arcade1UP cabinet. And for those of you that got it for like $170 with a stool from Sam's, oh man, you guys are probably loving it, especially now all 3 games are online. That's fantastic. So what you can learn from this is, you know, the stupid Blitz came out without online, and we want to enjoy it right away, but now it's there. Okay, so let's deep dive into Mortal Kombat real quick. Mortal Kombat, they had the Gen 1 cabinet. They had a TN monitor on this one, and then they had a riser was available at like Costco. And then they made some improvements. The improvements is they went into this MK2 legacy version. They had like a printed coin door. And then they went into the MK3. Let's see. Stringer Films with a Merry Christmas, bro. Hope it's a great one. Yeah, today's a pretty good day. Having a lot of fun. Travis is going to make my day because later on after this show, we're going to play some Blitz together. Right, Travis? There we go. I'm up for it right after the show. Okay, so let's talk about the MK. They did make some improvements. If you look at which one looks the best, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people would agree, that third one is going to be great. But the third one's online when it comes to looks. I've heard the marquee looks good, right? MG says that he hates the coin door sticker with a passion. But the middle one has a better monitor than the third one, and so they kind of messed up on that. So let's break down the problems. We got these problems here. No IPS screen. Don't make that mistake again, Arcade1UP. No spectate. Fix it. Come on. Fund the team. That's what the community wants. Of course, you should do it to MK, because you're going to come out with MK next year, and MK the year after that, the MK year after that. You're probably going to use similar chipsets for all of the MKs that you come out every single year down the line. Might as well add a feature that you can backport to Big Blue, to this 30th edition, and get all those people that are playing on all of those different cabinets. Add it to all of them. I was talking about Big Blue, like they needed to add it to the Street Fighters one as well. Like full on, just like Code Mystics had, where there's like a lobby system. Give us all of those features. Input lag. So now, this is funny. Console Fanboy did a super chat, and he was saying that he never saw any input lag, but then he did see input lag. I think some of their online fighting games, when you're playing online, because the input lag increases. That's where I feel it. And I'm not even very good at fighting games, and it's like very subtle. Someone needs to test it. Someone needs to do a camera on it. 1,000 frames per second. A super chat by Console Fanboy says, no one will buy another MK cab from Arcade1UP unless it has lobbies and or spectate. I guarantee it. Pay Code Mystics. Yeah, Travis is saying that the MK's input lag is really bad. That's unfortunate. But they've discovered, some people in the community has discovered that the lag can be decreased by updating, is it the input controller, like at the Linux layer, like actually where it's receiving, the hardware abstraction layer. There's patches that you can make to decrease the controller input lag by enhancing the one. It's probably what just comes out of the factory in Linux or the factory. And it's funny, I worked for a company where we did exactly that. Like there was some native hardware integrations that are built in to Linux and had been there for a very, very long time. And they just were never really upgraded. And so we had a very special application, commercial applications. And so we just patched it, and then we just fixed it all. And it was something that and then we got to some point where you had to talk to legal and be like, do we need to like share our enhancements back to Linux, back to the community? And then some team of people did that. And for that particular product, we're able to see a huge improvement in the product, because it was just like the hardware that you're dealing with, or the software layer that you're dealing with. Sony 4K says, Mortal Kombat 4 with the BOE monitor. We got to do it. All right. So those are some of the problems with the cabinet. It's unfortunate, but again, in reflection, this is what Arcade1UP could do better next time. And so here's what I'm hoping for. This is not it's not a prediction. It's a wish list. This is me specifically saying I think I would enjoy if Arcade1UP did this. So you got the MK on the left, and go ahead and fix all those things, right? Like we talked about, like fix the lag, patch it, add spectate, make sure the next cabinet's a BOE, and then go riserless. It can still be the 17-inch monitor. The reason why I say that is because I don't want Arcade1UP to charge $699 for this or $1,000. I think in their natural evolution generation for 2023, MK2, they haven't, they could go back with this style, and this is something I photoshopped a while back, but kind of keep that MK 2022 shape, and then just kind of make it like the Pro or the XL, but just still, it's still just the 3/4 scale version. The people are saying the riserless cab design looks great. Yeah, I think that would be a pretty good win. It would be a pretty good win. All right, so then now think about that. So you have a Mortal Kombat 2, riserless. Maybe it's got a light up coin door as well. I didn't put that in this picture, but maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't have upgraded speakers. Maybe it doesn't have any of those other fancy features, because you don't want to increase the price a lot or give them reasons. I would aim for that $499 price or less if possible, and then just try to give the best possible cabinet. Do the BOE, the slide-in marquees, have it printed by a company that actually knows how to print art. Keep those improved sticks that we saw this last year. Those are good. Now improve the buttons and get the color right, of course, on these cabinets. And I think a lot of people would be happy with that compared to the Pro. Here's the reason why I say it. Now, there's some people this year that got the Killer Instinct Pro, and they're upset about it because it's this Pro model, and it didn't have the competition or IL sticks that they would hope it had. And Arcade1UP needs to improve on that for sure. I think what they did, they said Suzo Hap on their website, which is ambiguous. They should be very specific. And I've given this feedback to Arcade1UP directly before. I was like, you need to put the model number of the monitor you're using, or at least say it's IPS, or say it's BOE. Like, let us know so we can make a decision. Like, if you're gonna do a TN monitor sometimes, then we need the distinction. I hate it. I get comments from people that are like, hey, so I picked up the new Dig Dug, and why is the monitor so bad? And it's like, man, I should probably make more videos that kind of breaks down, here are all the Arcade1UP cabinets that have a TN monitor on it that you might want to avoid. And it's, well, if your website, or just always use BOE, right? You could do that, and then you wouldn't have that issue. No one would be complaining. Yeah, that's exactly right. Why not just use the IPS anytime? And so when it comes to the sticks, though, if they're going to use branded sticks, don't be generic in your expression. Show specifically what they have. But the point is, on the left, I think a lot of people would just be happy with that 3/4 scale. It's, if you can do it for $499, and then on the right, it's $1,000, it's half the price. And so it's like this pro-ish cabinet on the left is what I'm talking about. Because then I think a lot of people would be happy with that size and that price. And then the quality of, everything that you can put into a $499 cabinet. It's funny, when I was on 1UP Weekly with Retro Ralph, we talked about the Pro line is what we called it. We pitched this idea that Arcade1UP should come out with a Pro line. We never told them to charge $1,000 for it. I mean, this was back when the average cabinet was like $399. So I think we thought the Pro line was going to be like $699 or $700 or $800. Not $1,000. Not $1,000. And so they missed the mark on that. And so let's talk about Golden Tee. We're still in the hate part of the content. So Golden Tee, yeah. What were the problems? They had a no IPS screen. Controls, there's room for improvement on the controls. They're not horrible, but I moved this cabinet around, and that was really interesting. When I went to sell it, I went to the auction, and when I arrived there, now it was in a U-Haul. I never laid it down. I brought the whole thing up on a dolly, put it on the U-Haul, rolled it out, and then got it all in place. And then the moment I started using it, I was like, what is wrong with the trackball? Like, the trackball was messed up when I got to the auction to sell it. And I was like, this is going to be bad. People are going to try it out and be like, this is horrible. And so I sat there with the trackball and I just spun it like crazy. I just went crazy with spinning it, like thinking something about in the move, because it wasn't like that at home. And then that fixed it. Like, it literally did. Like, all of, like, when I was moving the hand around to select a game, it was like I'd move it and the hand would like barely move. And so once that was in place, then, you know, it was good. But I've heard other people complain about the trackball. And so the fact that you got to like do something to it to kind of kick it in place to get it to work, and maybe you've learned that trick, or maybe you just replaced the Golden Tee XL cabinet. But this year, the Golden Tee is a great idea. That size of cabinet is really big, and it's really cool to have a cabinet that size. But that control, it's so simple. The controls and the monitor have to be really nice. I mean, you go through it. It's like basically make all the stuff nice, right? You're like, make the marquee nice. No brainer, right? Make the monitor nice. Okay, make the controls nice. Make the shape of it nice. And then we're willing to pay it. I wish this was a cabinet that I could have kept. I had a bad experience and it made me hate the game. That sucks. I don't know. Maybe if it was I didn't have that bad experience, maybe I'd be loving Golden Tee right now. That's a good point. And then there's the high price. Not a good price to buy. Well, the person that bought it from me got it for $300, so they got a pretty good price. So what can we learn? Don't use TN monitors. For $699, better controls. Give us a better experience. So let's talk about Blitz. This is a really interesting one. Let's talk about the problems. Well, it's got a BOE monitor. It's got a 49-way joystick that's actually good. I guess you can improve the buttons. It's got 2 coin doors. The artwork isn't original. I got it. My wife doesn't mind it. It's literally in our basement living room area, or our living room area, or family room downstairs. And she was like, wait, you got a football cabinet? I was like, yeah. She's like, you don't even like football. I'm like, yeah, but Madden and Blitz are awesome. She's like, oh yeah, I remember playing those. And so I start putting it together, and she didn't complain about the way it looks. And anyway, she's like, you picking Denver? Anyway, my wife and I have an interesting relationship. She was actually pretty excited about this cabinet, believe it or not. I thought that was interesting. But anyway, what are the problems? Problem is the online was delayed, which actually gave a ton of people a really bad taste, which is probably what caused people not to buy. But the online is awesome. This is the crazy thing. Like, this is like the biggest mistake that Arcade1UP made this year, is just releasing a cabinet that actually ended up being pretty amazing. But no one found out it was amazing until December. Like, the gameplay's been hit or miss. I mean, when we played it in Chicago together, we had a lot of fun. But I didn't know I could recreate that remotely. And I've been playing a handful of people online with Blitz. And yeah, like, it would be cool. We haven't done a thing where we're on the phone, you know, talking or FaceTiming. But there's still a lot of fun. Travis is like 100% Justin. Yeah, it's like, it's the first cabinet that I've ever bought that's online that I actually want to play online. Before, it's like, oh, let me just try it out. That would be kind of fun to play with. okay, I played with it, I tinkered with it. I'm not very good at Street Fighter, but it's nice knowing that I have a cabinet that can play people online, and maybe from time to time I'll play online. Or cabinets that are like, you know, the leaderboard chasers. Like, I'm not that great of a gamer, but I enjoy playing the game. Submitting my score online and chasing the leaderboards, there's so much people that are better than me. I'll let them win. But when it comes to Blitz, it is a lot of fun. And so that surprised me. And one of the reasons I got it is because it was discounted for $389. And then a ton of my friends were like, we got to do it. You got to do it. You got to get it. We've been playing it online. It's actually a lot of fun. So what do you guys think about all of this 2022, 2023, some of the mistakes? What problems do you think Arcade1UP needs to fix in 2023? And then we'll go to our next topic in just a second. So the bad guy, Mike Worley, says, well, I feel like them screwing up on the release of Blitz so bad allowed a lot of us to get it very cheap. It's very possible that is exactly why we got it very cheap. I've heard of other people talk about this topic, you know, in chats and Facebook, and I think it's a really interesting theory. So the theory is that from Sam's point of view, their project was, let's imagine it this way. We got $20 million to spend. It's probably more than that. I don't know. We got millions of dollars to spend for the Black Friday Christmas season. And for every dollar that we put in, we're hoping to get so much return. And a lot of that is like betting. You know, how many TVs do you buy? How many Arcade1UP cabinets do you buy? And Sam's was like, one of their managers or whatever was like, let's get a bunch of these Blitz cabinets because the economy and the way it is, we think we could actually sell them because football is really popular. And, you know, during the end of the year, there's going to be a lot of hype for football. Arcade1UP's going to market it like crazy. We think we can flip those, right? And then at some point, they just didn't sell. Or they sold, but they still had a lot of extra. And at that point, it's still just, what do they do at the end of the year after Black Friday when most of their, you know, sales are done or the hype of the golden quarter is kind of over? They start liquidating those deals, those investments that they want to recoup and get their money back. So that, I guess, I don't know how it works, but at the end of the quarter, the golden quarter, they can show their numbers. They can show their numbers to their VP and they can get their bonuses, you know, those managers. And the theory is they just liquidated it because they're like, hey, they made their buck. They took a chance. They won some on some TVs. They lost ones on some Arcade1UP, and they're just recouping. I don't know if recouping their loss or they're just like, some of these people are probably buying cabinets at what they paid for them at. That's crazy. Anyway, it's a win for us. It's a win for us. That's what I have to say. Tim says Arcade1UP should do a build your own cab business model. You get the base cab, frame, and PCB, and choose your own monitor, marquee, art, controls, and accessories separately. They could totally do that. It'd probably be super expensive. I think there's some local people in the United States that do offer those services, and they're also pretty expensive. I'd be interested as a consumer 100%. MG says the problem with Blitz is I canceled my $299 order online and then it went to $172 and now I hate myself and Blitz. Yeah, it's funny how experience, you know, can change your feelings on a product. You know, if you have a bad experience, man, you'll get pretty upset about things. Walter says 2022 was the year of fails. Quality control for the KI Pro was easily understood that HAP competition was expected, and yet they failed it and released 2 cabinets with no online. Wait till it's done. Yeah. Yeah, Devils is saying that I do want voice chat added. Would love to be able to trash talk during the gameplay. Yeah, I think that'd be fun if they can pull it off without it like competing with any of the CPU for the actual game. You know, that'd be pretty cool. Otherwise, if for some reason they're like, no, we tried it, and sending the audio packets, you know, every second, adds lag to the game, or maybe if it's a feature that they're adding to their platform, they really need to be building a platform for these games to be running on top of. If that's possible, they can start, but it seems like they license features, and so maybe this stuff is pretty expensive. Like Code Mystics, like builds all these features, and it sounds like they license it for a fee. And I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what all you can do. I mean, in businesses that I've worked on, everything related to software development is, you pay contractors to build it, and then you own that software. And it just doesn't look like Arcade1UP does that. They just outsource it all, or they license it to other people. They really focus in on marketing or something. In Sam's store, didn't carry anything much other than Blitz. Economy sucks, sales down, clearing them out. Blitz isn't on fire. Blitz isn't on fire sale anywhere else yet. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, why Sam's? Why only Sam's? It seems to be an exclusive thing to Sam's. It's not like on a fire sale everywhere else. Very good point. Mike Muses says, 2022 was a great year for me. My first Arcade1UP in February. Now I have 9, and I love them all. Well, that's awesome. I remember when Arcade1UP sold the parts like PCB boards, controller decks. Wish they still did that. I think if you need anything, you can contact them through their customer support, through their chat online. I was just reading a message from someone recently where they said that they needed a PCB, but they weren't sure if that was going to fix it, and it was like way out of warranty. And they said they'll charge them a fee for getting that replacement part. I also heard a lot of people contacting. I'm trying to think exactly what that deal was, why they had to charge it. Maybe it wasn't broken. I can't remember. But a lot of people are reaching out to Arcade1UP, and they're just giving away replacement parts. Devil says football is such a social experience. Hopefully they will follow through and bring more improvements online next year. Yeah, it would be really cool. Anyway, so let's shift over to the next point of the topic. So we've been talking about 2022. Now let's talk about 2023, kind of more into that. I've led in with a little bit of information, like this is what I'd like to see in 2023. I mentioned, the riserless cabinet as an option at $499. Like, don't go higher than that. If you can sell them to Walmart, and Walmart will, sell them to us for a smaller price, even the better. Economy is tough. If you want to increase sales, obviously price, it's going to be a big thing. But I want to know what you guys in the chat want to see in 2023. What is your expectation in the CES announcement and E3? So keep in mind, for those that are, maybe this is their first year in home arcade, traditionally Arcade1UP every year releases new titles, right? So it's kind of like this, they kind of sell it like their collector's model, but they don't really keep their price. It's not like the price of a cabinet goes way up. From time to time, we've seen that. Like the Star Wars cabinet has been going on eBay. I've seen them $1,500, but they were only like $400 when they came out. But those are rare. That's an exception to the rule. That cabinet was high demand. They sold out, and I think they actually did make a lot of them. But not enough. And then that's what Arcade1UP does. They're similar to collection model seasonal sales, right? Okay, so what does that mean for 2023? So when we look back, we'll see that Arcade1UP announces typically near January 1st. Traditionally, we call that CES because they sometimes are at CES and then they make their announcements, and sometimes they're not. And basically, the lockdown prevented CES, so they weren't at CES. I've been told they are going to be at CES this year, so they do have like a presence at CES, and there should be more announcements around the E3 timeframe, and that's what they always do. Usually somewhere in January, and then somewhere in July. And then sometimes there's like kind of these surprise cabinets that come out. Like Golden Tee last year was kind of a surprise. Now, most of us in the community know that not much is a surprise anymore because There's people that are looking, there's enough people that are looking at the shipping dock notifications, and they spell out specifically what Arcade1UP titles are being shipped. And that's a trigger that we should get them in about 6 weeks, because they come over on a boat, and then it takes about that time to get picked up by, distributor or whatever, and then they're available. So Golden Tee was, we knew about the Golden Tee XL because of shipping docks, and there was like one website that like had a leak, like they started selling them to retailers, and the retailer like put it on their website. So, but we haven't seen any of that this year for 2023. The only thing we've really seen is that hasn't been released yet is Shop Hippo put out Star Wars. They're coming out with Star Wars. I'm just telling you, like, that's happening. I'm confirmed, right? They probably hate that I'm confirming it so much. Like, there was this one time I was like, I was going to be like, oh my gosh, I got a text message from John D. And he says, for the love of God, will you stop telling people that we're coming out with Star Wars? For the love of God, can we please keep it a secret? I'm like, whatever, Star Wars is coming. It's not going to change anything. Like, it's a cabinet they've already announced. They're just like re-releasing it. Like, who cares? It's like keeping secrets or things that you know about. I guess it's similar to like if a friend of yours had a baby. A friend of yours had a baby, and you find out that they're pregnant. Oh, no. A friend of yours is pregnant, but it needs to be their announcement that they're pregnant. Like, okay, cool. So you don't say anything because it's like, let them be the one that tells everybody. Yeah, but Arcade1UP is telling like, millions of people. I'm only telling like 100 people. See, I tell my local friends that, someone's pregnant. It's like, hey, they're pregnant. But Star Wars re-release, it's like saying that they're having that same baby again. So like the analogy just doesn't work. So I don't even really care. Let's see. So JJ says, hey, console kids, can the general public get tickets to CES? If so, are they crazy expensive? I don't remember. I went to CES and I don't even remember. I think I just bought tickets. Maybe they were $200. I might be getting it confused with AWS. It wasn't a lot of money though. The hotel was the most expensive thing for sure. But I think there's gonna be like 100,000 people that go to CES this year, maybe. Anyways, thank you so much for the super chat. Mike Channel says, or Chanel, I don't know. Thanks for all the entertainment this year, bud. Hope you have a happy and productive 2023. Dude, thank you so much. I hope you also have a happy and productive 2023. For me personally, I think I'm going to have a fun 2023. Like me personally, I took off. This is the first time I've done this. So I took off the last 2 weeks of the year. But I really focused on like, how can I improve? And how could I create new regimens for improvement? And I'm not talking about YouTube. Like, I'm on a diet. I've lost 4 pounds already. I've only been on the diet for 4 days. And so I'm working with my wife. She's like, you should do this. You should do this. I'm just doing all the things that I should do that will make things better. And I'm excited. I'm excited to get back to work in January. I have a list of ideas and plans to kind of make the job better. Just all improvements. And then when it comes with YouTube, I got all these things that I'm working on as well. And I've been spending this 2 weeks on it. So the last 2 days I've been building this app that, as you can see. So I'll give you an example. So I'm in StreamYard right now, which is a tool that costs like $500 a year. So my goal is to not pay the $500 for this streaming service in 2023. And so Vic Vicious just posted that. I just clicked on it, and that's from StreamYard. And then, let's see. That's my version. See? So this other version, that's I don't have to pay for that. That's StreamYard's version. Maybe I got to work on the animations, but I got it working. So I'm just right here in StreamYard. And I forked an open source tool, and then I'm adding more features, and I may add features back. Like I have this feature called auto chat Now, I don't have it centered on the screen correctly, but let's see. Show auto chat. It's all messed up. It's from another live stream actually right now. So let me see if it. There we go. See, I could reposition it. Let me reposition it. No, go to the chat. I can make it bigger. Let's see. There's the chat. Nope. Go to it. Sorry. Anyway, improvements, right? Like anything you can do to improve. So I can make that. I can push it all the way to the side here. And then I can, I don't know, I can go to the top here. And I'm doing it all without OBS. I wrote 90% of the code that does all this. It's fun. You know, there we go. I don't know what that din thing is at the top is. Oh, there we go. Now we got chat on the side. And I could do this directly. I use what's called an A10 Mini Extreme ISO, which is a streaming thing that can go straight to YouTube over the network. And I have it set up where I don't need to pay for StreamYard this next year. Anyway, Console Fanboy with the... oh, wait. Let me not do that. I'm going to use it like this. Ah, see, the chat's higher on mine. See, I got to get those separated. All right, let me go like that. Want to go to CES together, Justin? I'm a YouTuber now. I have no plans. Let me hide this. Let me go to hide auto chat. Boom. I don't want to... CES, you can go, man. Have a good time. I'm gonna hold out on doing anything. I mean, that's like in like 2 weeks. I have to work. I already took like 2 weeks off. I would be like, I need to take a third week off. Don't want to do that. Anyway, so there were some people. Let me see if I can do this. So I'm gonna use my new tool here. So not the auto chat. I'm gonna pull up this, okay, and then. So this is gonna be topic oriented. Everyone in the chat, type in a word topic, and then in the tool that I have, I can go through and star all your chat messages. You know, type in topic and something that you want to talk about, and then I can star it. Then I can test this feature. So pink is worth $500. Wow. CS is a trade show. Need to fill out forms, and as long as you are not trying to get media, you can fake your way through it. There you go. The chat comes up on the right side of my TV in general. How many? Okay, here we go. So we'll star that one. There we go. We're going to star more topics. Harry just said topic. Let me dismiss that one. And then, yeah, this works pretty good. And, okay. Yep, more topics. Very good. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so we're going to start going through it. I'm going to add a new feature this week where, based on your keyword, it'll auto-pin them for me in the chat, so then I can just easily click on them. So as the chat goes by, the chat is going by, I have them pinned on my little tool here. Let me see. Okay, so JJ says, how many people bought a Sam's deal? Put a 1 in the chat. All right, let's get some 1s in the chat. Oh, that's a new feature I was going to add in the tool as well, where I have it where all the chat is coming to my app that I have, and so I can add tools in there where we could do polls and stuff, but the polls are literally from chats, and on screen it would just like literally light them up. So I plan on doing that. So we got some people in the chat that are hitting 1, JJ. Looks like we got a lot of people here that got the Sam's deal. That's pretty cool. Brandon says topic. Oh, see, I got some run over. Got to work on that. Merry Christmas. Just thinking, why don't you just hire movers to move your arcades? We had hired some movers when we had to move some bigger furniture. Yeah, so I just found a guy in our local area that will move for $300. He'll move, which is, I think it's a pretty good deal because it's not $300 per cabinet. It's like $300 to get him to come over. And he's going to move, I think it's, I told 2 pinball machines, and it's the Pinball 2000s, which are really heavy. he agreed to move both of those, and then Road Blasters, which is a little heavier than the average full-size cabinet, and then the Williams, which is about an average. But I also have Zaxxon, so I'm gonna tell him like, hey, can you do Zaxxon as well? And I think he will. He's a really nice guy. He's a pretty big guy, and he has all the tools. He's like really expensive dollies, and he's got one of those stair climbers, probably the PowerMate. I've been doing a ton of research. Have you guys seen the PowerMate? Hit one in the chat. We're not talking about Sam's anymore, but have you guys seen the PowerMate? This is where I've been at. Like, let me turn down the music here. So I've been doing a ton of research on, you know, how to get things. Yeah, stair climber. Let me pull it up like this. So if you want to get like full-size arcades up and down stairs, and you want to do it, you want to have the ability to do it by yourself, there is this thing called the PowerMate. Let me go full screen on this. And it's pretty cool, and they're expensive, but I found you could rent them. And so in my area, you can rent them for like $100 or $200. So I'll explain how it works, because I've been doing a ton of research on this. So say you got a pinball machine. So first of all, pinball machine, like a brand new Stern machine, you could do it with a standard dolly, no big deal. Just the way it works. And then there's this, because I'm gonna own a couple of pinball machines, so I'm gonna get this thing that will lift up a pinball. Like it's a little, I don't know what it costs, about $200. But this is good. You would own it, and it basically goes underneath the pinball machine, and you jack it up, but it's on wheels, and then it'll lift up the pinball machine so there's no legs, and you can move it around your house without doing any scoot. I mean, that would be fine even with the Arcade1UP and the Legends that I have. I mean, in the end, I think I'm going to have 5 total machines, right? Like the 2 Pinball 2000s, both of those, and then a Stern, and then the Arcade1UP pinball machine and the AtGames Legends pinball machine. And I could use that to move them around the house easily anytime I want for all of those things. Now, what if you wanted to move things up and down the house? Again, I'm not going to buy this. This is like $2,000 or $3,000, but you can rent it for like $100 or $200 in my area. And so, if you look at how it works, you're never pulling. Look at his arms. He never pulls up on it. He just pivots. And so you pivot forward, even if this is like a 500 pounds or 300 pounds, like you could probably pivot it. Let's say 300 pounds, not 500, but it's not too bad to pivot it forward. And then you press a button that will lift the entire wheel, and you always go 2 stairs up or down if you're doing, because you do the same thing in reverse. So now he's lowered it down. He never pulled. And so now he has the wheel sitting right there. Once he has that center of gravity there, you pivot it. Hey, look, he's putting like no effort. And then he lifts the bottom up. Watch this. Lifts it. And then once it gets onto the lip, he lets it down. And then he presses this thing and it pushes it down, and then he does it again. So it's just this pivot. Pivot just takes time, but you're never actually putting any load. No load is actually going on you. You can move a lot of these things by yourself. So you could rent those. And so that's where I was at. I was thinking about renting one of those machines to be able to get my pinball machines, up and down the stairs. And now I'm like, nah, instead of spending $100 or $200 and the effort of doing all that, I found a guy that will do all the work for me. So let's see. Let's remove the topic. Remove that topic. Remove that topic. Will we ever get a Gauntlet 1, 2, 4 player? I don't know. I don't think in 2023. I think the economy is tough. They're going to stick to what they know will sell. I think the whole idea of niche cabinets is not going to work. It's not going to, it's what we want. Not that Gauntlet is niche, but it's not Pac-Man. It's not Street Fighter. It's not MK. Topic, Christmas late night tourney in, a tournament in Discord. Very cool. Let's see. Does Star Wars have a coin door? Yes. Topic, why do you drive on a parkway and park on a driveway? Yeah, man. That is crazy. Let's see. A next-gen AtGames. Yeah, this would be really cool. It's something I was thinking about. A next-generation AtGames Legends pinball machine. I'm sorry. No, the Legends Ultimate. I think the pinball machine doesn't necessarily... Well, if they did come out with another generation pinball machine, I just think it needs more memory, so you don't have to like put the tables on a thumb drive. It's not the end of the world by having a thumb drive up there. Like me personally, I think I need to get one of those short thumb drives, then it would bother me less. I'm totally going to do that. I'm going to spend the money. I'll just get one of the... I think I actually have a Samsung short one. That's what I should use. Let's see. Yeah, but the AtGames Legends Ultimate, that would be great. They've had the same model since like 2019, I want to say. Where can you rent one? So I just did a Google search in my... for you, just put in like, I don't know, Stairmate Seattle or something. I found a local company that has a website that's like, we rent, and they had an online forum and everything. And it was like, you can have one of those Stairmates for like a week for $300. And then I think a day was like $100. But if I were to do that, I'd probably call them and be like, negotiate. I negotiated the Enterprise truck that I got. I called him and I was like, hey man, times are tough. Can you give me a deal? And he gave me unlimited miles, which was like $80 or something. I'm going to try to do that more often. Rainwater says, dude, the extra wide Jersey jacks are freaking heavy as a coffin. Impossible to move with just a dolly. There you go. See what I mean? PowerMate. I've been doing a lot of research. PowerMate seems to be one of the most popular brands when it comes... There's a couple of them. There are a couple different ones, but I don't know. In my research, it seemed like that was the good one, I guess I was going to go with. So topic, is the Stern home pinball a fun size? So I've heard no. I've heard people regret getting the home version. So B Kong over at Kongs R Us. Hold on, I got a little heater right here to kind of warm me up in the basement here. And it's pretty hot. And so he told me don't get the home version. It's smaller. Just get a Pro. It's a little more expensive, but he like regrets getting the home version. I don't know. There's some people in the chat that maybe have a home version. But one thing for sure that I don't know anyone that only owns one pinball machine. I don't know. Are you in the chat only own one pinball machine? They seem to be like you buy a couple. Yeah. Let's see. My best purchase deal of the year is the Ridge Racer for $299. There we go. Yeah, so when does the root beer tapper come out? So for those that don't know, that was a leak for this year. We saw like a root beer tapper design. I don't know, man. I hope they come out with it because that would be pretty cool. I've seen some people restore the full-size versions. Pretty expensive if you want it full size. That's what I like. That's definitely the area that I like Arcade1UP. Like, I want Tron. I haven't bought it because the price isn't right yet. I think I would do Dragon Slayer if the price was right, because those cabinets, full size, are very expensive. Over $2,000 in my area for those in good condition. So if Arcade1UP does it pretty good, it's like you've got a clone version for like $300. If you could get, that's what I'm saying. That's like my target price. Root beer tapper is another one that's more expensive. I saw a brand new one. Someone made a brand new one for $1,800. They sold it at auction. And yeah, I think that would be, come on, why is it there? Okay, the music. topic, what Stern table is Justin getting? Right now, I'm thinking Jurassic Park. And when I talk to my wife about it, Jurassic Park seems to be the one. I keep on going to different pinball places and playing it. I would love to own an Attack from Mars. There's one local that's a lot of fun, but those aren't they like 10 grand or something? 13 grand? No, 20 grand, right? Aren't they like 20 grand? And they're old. So, that game's a lot of fun. But I got the Revenge from Mars, which is the Pinball 2000. And that it's not as good as the Attack from Mars, but it feels very similar. And it kind of has different gameplay. So, it's like kind of like a video game. Yeah, the Pinball 2000s, I'll have to do a review. Once I get them down in the basement, I'll do some filming and I'll make some videos that are kind of like uploaded videos, pre-recorded, edited and stuff that kind of breaks down what it's like owning a Pinball 2000 machine. Man, I saw this article in the Old School Gamer magazine, and it was talking about this pinball. So it's this pinball museum that's in Poland. Does anyone subscribe to the Old School Pinball? No, Old School Pinball. I'm sorry, Old School Magazine. He actually sponsored the podcast last year. And I got some pretty good gamer magazine, Old School Gamer magazine, right? Okay, let me log in. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. This article was just fantastic, and I really enjoyed reading it. And it was talking about these pinball places, a pinball museum that was in Poland. Oh, come on. My login's not working? 1 second. Nope. Go to this one. I'd have to go through the password flow, I think. Anyway, let me see if it's in the free version. So if you go to their website, they have like a digital... You can sign up. There's Digital Plus. There's a free version, and I'll just explain it. Anyway, so at this pinball museum in Poland, they had a number of machines, and they kind of went through the history. And I learned a lot from this magazine. It was pretty interesting, the history of pinball machines. They said traditionally, almost every company that makes pinball machines is in Illinois. Even Jersey Jack moved to Illinois. Like they started in Jersey, and then they later moved to like the Chicago area. But then there's a handful of companies that are not in the United States. So if and that's like the Zachariah. So Zachariah, and the article mentioned like Zachariah was around between the 70s and 80s or 90s. I can't remember how long Zachariah was around making machines in, what is it, Italy? Is Zachariah Italy? I can't remember, but not in the United States. And so for there to be a pinball museum in Poland is kind of crazy, because pinball traditionally is like an American thing, like pretty much all the companies. And then they mentioned like the number of machines that Zachariah made that are, not made in the United States is such a small fraction of all of the pinball machines that were totally sold throughout the world. So it's mostly the Chicago area where these are made. So that's pretty interesting. But in that article, it mentioned that they have at this pinball museum both Revenge from Mars and Episode 1, the elusive Pinball 2000. And I had to show that to my daughter. I was like, read this part of the article, because they make it a highlight of like they have in Poland these two pinball machines, which are extremely rare. And those just so happen to be the two machines that I bought. So, and the ones that I have are in like pristine condition. So I'm excited about that. And Old School Gamer magazine's a pretty cool magazine. Let's see. We were running through, let's see. I asked P-Dubs about a 4K Legends pinball. He said not happening. Yeah. All right. So do we have any more topics in the chat here? Let's see. Love to see an Elvira pinball. The more I think about Dragon's Lair, it's kind of good to get that. It was a laser disc back in the day. Yeah. Jay just said that you bought a 1-year digital subscription to Old School Gamer, but never looked at it. Probably won't renew. Yeah, I mean, if you're not doing it, I've been. So I have the magazines, and I basically put the magazines in my bathroom, and I read a page. They need to do an Arcade1UP Pinball Pro Universal. There you go. Oh, JJ saying you should get the music pins. Metallica, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin. Yeah, maybe. A 90s version, Indiana Jones, or 90s Star Wars with the Death Star pinball machine. Yeah. Whenever I go to conventions, they have pinball machines, and I get to play those older ones that are like, have those iconic, like Star Wars. I played the Back to the Future, and I'm pretty excited because I don't think I'm going to buy a pinball machine until after March. It's when Stern's going to make their next announcement. And so it's very possible that Stern will blow us away with a really awesome title. I don't know, like, say, Back to the Future. Man, how cool would it be if they released like a 2023 Back to the Future? But I was talking to Greg, who's a local guy here in Des Moines. He's the Stern distributor, and he's like, man, I've heard Stern rumors about Back to the Future ever since he started in this industry. Let's see, we got some more topics coming in. Appreciate that. Any thoughts on the AtGames mini pinball machine? So I don't have it. What do you guys think in the chat? Does anyone here have the AtGames mini pinball machine? I've seen pictures of people on Facebook adding the legs to it, and it looks pretty cute. I don't know, like, actually putting legs on it and playing it for real. I don't know if it's practical. Maybe it is. I mean, again, I don't have one, but I imagine it's not practical. I think if you have young kids, then it could be practical and they could really enjoy it. If you have a kid that's like, I don't know, 5 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old maybe, and you want to get them into pinball, maybe you could get them the mini and they would feel special because they have their own pinball machine that like fits them, that's their size, that they can connect with. So it's possible you could create a long-lasting bond with pinball machines by providing that to your child at that age. I don't have a child that's that age. She's 14 now, so she's as tall as my wife, and yeah, she probably won't be able to enjoy that. Yeah, Joe says already consider the ALP a mini. Oh, I see. Are you saying the AtGames Legends pinball itself is a mini? Yeah, I've heard some people doing the Sega legs, which increases the height a little bit taller. It's pretty interesting. Mike says if you're going to do Back to the Future spinoff, if they are going to do a Back to the Future spinoff, I hope they do it while Fox and Lloyd are still healthy enough to be involved. Is that happening, Mike? Mike is... Wait, I got double chat here. Sorry. If they are going to do Back to the Future spinoff, I hope they do it while Fox and Lloyd are still involved. Have you heard rumors? They're not going to redo Back to the Future, right? Like, I heard that they won't do it. Yeah, thanks, man. I'm pinned to the screen. Yeah, sorry about that. Appreciate it. So, ever seen the spooky pinball machines? So, I haven't. I have not seen the spooky pinball machine in person that I know of. Maybe I have. I just didn't know it was a spooky. But the local pinball owner that's in Grimes, Iowa, I chat with him, anytime I go over there, we chat for a little bit. And he told me about, did you see that Spooky came out with a new machine? And I was like, yeah, are you going to get it? And he goes, no, I'm not going to get it. And this is what he told me. Like, maybe you think spooky is really good, but this is what he said, and he's probably not like 100% represent everyone, but as an operator, he says he won't buy spooky. He's like, the spooky people are awesome. He's chatted with them, they're very good communications, what he said. Anytime he's reached out to them for anything, they're just awesome. But the quality of their actual machines are not very good. He's like, they're hard to maintain. They're hard to, the quality is just not there. So he's like, I won't buy a spooky and put it in my pinball place because I'm afraid that it'll just hurt me in the end. I was like, whoa, I didn't know that. Anyway, that's his opinion. But he also had some interesting opinions. He was worried about these newer Stern machines that are getting more and more very custom. He said he has a machine that he was like, trying to get Stern to answer questions on, and he needs a replacement part, and they don't make it anymore, this part. And so he's like, well, are you going to, release like a manual that explains like, this is how the part is made? Like, here's the schematics. Like back in the day, a lot of people do it. Like if you want to do a repair on a pinball or an arcade, they're like, here's the entire schematics. And from there, if you're an electronics engineer, you should be able to like diagnose problems and be able to replace parts. And so he's struggling because he's like wondering, he's thinking long-term. He's like, what if in 20 years or 40 years, you go back and you're like, oh, I have this 20, 40-year-old version of Stern that, came out in 2020 and it needs a part replaced. He's like, maybe it'll be fine, but he's like, he is worried. But anyway, a Netflix Wednesday pinball would be huge right now. I heard rumors, but there is too much money for Hollywood not to do it. Well, there's that. Yeah, so what I had heard, right, this is what Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis were saying, that they don't want to do anything else with Back to the Future, until after they're dead. Like, they die, then Universal can do whatever they want. But while they're alive, they don't want it to happen. They'll fight for Back to the Future not to be redone. But that's what they said. Like, I've heard them say that in interviews in the last 5 years, and I've also heard them say that like in 90. Like back in the 90s, there's footage of them being like, they didn't even want to do Back to the Future 2 and 3, but they were forced to. So they were like, you know what? If you're going to force us to do it, then give us $60 million and then we'll make 2 and 3 back to back and you'll win, And they didn't even really want to do that because they thought like the first movie was just amazing. But think about it, like Back to the Future 2 and 3 is a strong part of our culture. So there's some different people that have different opinions on which one's the best. I mean, they only teach Back to the Future 1 at colleges as like the way to edit and film a movie like perfectly. They don't do that for Back to the Future 2 and 3. But Back to the Future 2 is just fun. Like they go to the future. Like how many movies do you remember when you were a kid? I was a kid in 90, 91 or 89 when it came out, right? My parents worked at we cleaned a theater, and so we would get like free access to the movies for a time, and they had an arcade there, and I had the operator there would put a whole bunch of credits in there when I was there, so I got to play a lot of arcades. Not a lot. They had like 10, and I got to play those 10 a lot, let's say. Anyway, so I remember watching Star Trek 4 and maybe Star Trek 5, Indiana Jones, Batman, Back to the Future 2 and 3 at that theater. I don't really remember any other movies, but those movies I remember. And the Back to the Future 2, the scene, which I knew from the commercials, where he goes into the Hill Valley downtown area and Marty just says, "The future." It blew me away. This idea of this kid, he's like from the 80s, and I'm from the 80s at the time, right? It was the 80s, and you saw the future. But here's what crazy thing is: we grew up, and we're now in the future, and we don't have flying cars, but man, we have a lot more than what Back to the Future 2. And we got arcades in our house. They didn't show that in Back to the Future. They had home arcade. Back to the Future 2 doesn't have Marty's house has like home arcades, pinball machines. No, they didn't show that. Artificial intelligence in the next couple of years is going to be crazy. I've been playing with just chatting with ChatGPT. It's crazy. Have you guys done it? Hit one in the chat if you've done any ChatGPT stuff. The app that I'm working on right now that's for the live stream, there's a function that I needed to write, and I was like, how do I write that? And I just asked ChatGPT, and I explained it, and I didn't even like make sense when I was explaining it, and it gave me the code. And he was like, here you go. Here's a function that will do that. And I was like, okay, cool. But I literally started saying, like in a code review, what I didn't like about the code that the AI generated. And then it made it better. I was like, I don't like else statements. I like ternary. Do it better. And they're like, how about this? I was like, perfect. And then I would just tell it like it has bugs, and I would describe what I was seeing. And it was like, okay, how about now? And it changed the code. It's crazy. Let's play with it real quick. I'll make it on topic. Like the topics that we're talking about right now, I'm going to ask this artificial intelligence your questions live. We can be kind of fun. So like right here we have topics. Any thoughts on AtGames mini pinball machine? I'm literally just gonna type that to the artificial intelligence, and this is what they said. The AtGames mini pinball machine is a small, portable pinball machine designed to be used at home or on the go. It features a miniature playfield with bumpers, flippers, and targets, and can be powered by either batteries, or a USB cable. Some users have reported the machine is not durable as a full-size pinball machine, and the gameplay may not be smooth or realistic as some would like. However, it is a relatively inexpensive option for these looking for a pinball machine in their home, and can provide hours of entertainment for fans and classic arcade games. Let's see. I love the flying car. Therefore, Back to the Future 2 is my pick. Yeah. Let's see. If Arcade1UP goes out of business, would the online be worthless? So I think the online is mostly maintenance free. So it's peer-to-peer, but there is a little bit of like setup. And I think the companies behind Home Arcade will last longer than Arcade1UP. And that sounds mean, right? Like I mean, look at it. So Other Ocean, Code Mystics, these are companies that have existed since the 90s. Google is freaked out right now. Yeah, man. So going back to artificial intelligence. So think about something. When it comes to the AI, the Chat GPT that's been released, think about how often you Google something. And what you're doing is looking for answers on web pages. But Chat GPT, it's been trained on everything that's on the internet since 2021. So it doesn't have it doesn't have anything newer. So going back to I got the double chat again. The online uses a server. It does use a server, but just for the trade-off to then do peer-to-peer. Sure, if those servers go down or out. I think if that did happen, let's say they went out of business. Let's say they actually went out of business. I think people in the community would hack it. There's people in the community that have hacked Arcade1UP left and right. And I think they have full control over that machine, firmware servers. They could probably patch it and have it redirect to their own server. I should go talk to those guys, actually. Be like, see if I can help out. Like, making sure that if Arcade1UP did go out of business, that we could keep the online working. Because if most of it's peer-to-peer, then all you got to do is just, like, make sure you have the server to talk to see who else is online to trade off the IP that you'll then talk to directly. Yeah, You can patch and start your own servers. That's what Dan says. Yeah, I think it could be possible. Yeah, so going back to ChatGPT, like I had a question about something. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. I don't really... Okay. Describe an amazing podcast topic idea related to home arcade by the Console Kits YouTuber. This is what I asked it. Let's see. Okay, this is what it came up with. One interesting podcast topic idea for home arcade enthusiasts or Console Kits YouTuber can be the history and the evolution of the arcade games. This includes discussing early days of arcade gaming in the 1970s and 1980s, the rise of console gaming in the 1990s, and the resurgence of arcade gaming in the recent years with the advent of home arcade systems. And then it says, and console kits. I don't know. I got confused about that. The podcast could delve into different types of arcade machines that have been popular over the years, such as classic games like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, as well as modern games like Street Fighter and Dance Dance Revolution. The hosts could also talk about the technology behind arcade games, including the hardware and software used to create and operate these games. Additionally, the podcast could feature interviews with people involved in the arcade industry, such as developers, collectors, and enthusiasts, to get their insights and prospects on the history and current state of arcade gaming. The host could also discuss the various ways that people can experience arcade games today, including traditional arcades, at home with console kits, or online through emulator software. Overall, a podcast about history and evolution of arcade games would be fascinating and informative topic for home arcade enthusiasts and Console Kits YouTuber, and could provide insights into the world of arcade gaming. Let me see. Write me a podcast segment on the topic of Street Fighter and the topic of Street Fighter. List when each game came out and what new enhancements were in each game. See, like you could Google and research this, or you can just ask the question. And here we go. Welcome to the Street Fighter segment of our podcast. In this episode, we'll be exploring the history of Street Fighter franchise, including the release dates and key enhancements of each game in the series. The original Street Fighter game was released in 1987, and it introduced players to an iconic character, Ryu and Ken, as they battled against a variety of opponents around the world. Street Fighter 2 was released in 1991. Hold on a second. I just realized something. Street Fighter 2. Let me pull this up. Let me go full screen. We'll get you the full experience. Let's see. The original Street Fighter game was released in 1987. It introduced players to the iconic characters of Ryu and Ken as they battled against a variety of components from around the world. Street Fighter 2 was released in 1991, and it became one of the most popular and influential fighting games of all time. See what I'm doing there? Let's see. I just wanted to be on screen too. It introduced a roster of 8 playable characters, each with their own unique moves and abilities, and it popularized the use of combo attacks and special moves in fighting games. Street Fighter Alpha was released in 1995, and it featured a prequel story set before the events of Street Fighter 2. It introduced new characters such as Charlie and Rose, and it also introduced new gameplay mechanics known as the ISM system, which allowed players to select different styles of play. Street Fighter 3 was released in 1997, and it featured a new cast of characters and a more technical gameplay system that emphasized footsies and pairing. Street Fighter V was released in 2008, and it marked the return of the series to the traditional 2D plane after Street Fighter 3's 3D graphics. It also introduced the Ultra Combo system, which allowed players to perform powerful combo attacks and could turn the tide of a match. Street Fighter, where are we at? Street Fighter 5 was released in 2016, and it introduced V-Gauge system, which allows players to build up energy that could be used to perform special moves or cancel out attacks. This concludes our Street Fighter segment. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the history and evolution of the iconic fighting game franchise. Thank you for listening. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's a very interesting. So if you're not familiar with this is free right now. You can go to, I put the link in the chat.openai.com. They're in this free beta version, and you literally can go, you can have a conversation with ChatGPT. If you ask it to make you something, you can keep iterating on it. Like, I don't know, you'd be like, I'm going to create a new chat right now and be like, here, let me show you the interface. I'll actually share my screen on it. Let me do that real quick. Okay. So this is the tool. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to use. So you can ask it, I want to make a pizza. Can you tell me how? You just type in whatever you want. Let's see. Build me a website in TypeScript that has 3 pages. Main, details, about us. The code should include themes, use SAS, and have a unit test. I don't know. Certainly, here's an example of a website built in TypeScript with 3 pages. My website. These are what the files would look like. It's going to have TypeScript. It's going to have SAS for your styling, which is like CSS. And it's going to have a folder with test cases in it. Here is an example of what the theme file would look like. It's just, and you can ask it, build me objects. I don't know, about Street Fighter. Be like, hey, I want you to build a page that's related to Street Fighter, and it should include information of all of the characters of Street Fighter, and then it will like build that code for you. And then you can talk back to it and be like, I don't like this, I don't like that, fix this, fix that, and it'll fix it. It's crazy. It's super crazy. Ask it who's the YouTuber Console Kits is. All right. I'll open a new chat. Who is the YouTuber Console Kits? And what does his channel talk about? I'm sorry, but I don't have any information about specific YouTuber's name of Console Kits. It doesn't know. Can I put Travis in? Travis. Okay. How about Travis MCP? I'm sorry, but I don't have any specific information about the name. It's no, it won't give you that stuff specific. Okay, how about this? Write me a YouTube script the way Travis MCP would do a video. Oh, come on. It doesn't know who you are. Okay, what if Mr. Beast made a video on home arcade? Now it's just giving you an outline. Okay. It's difficult for me to speculate on. Come on. Sometimes it's frustrating, especially when you're live talking about GPT. Now I want to ask it like, okay, imagine Mr. Beast did make video on Arcade1UP. What would that script look like? Okay, it's doing it. Here's an example. Okay. What's up, guys? It's Mr. Beast here, and today I'm going to be talking about Arcade1UP, the ultimate. That's not how Mr. Beast would do it. It'd be like, poo-cha, poo-cha. What's up, guys? It's Mr. Beast here, and today I'm going to be talking about Arcade1UP, the ultimate home arcade setup. And if you're a fan of classic arcades like Pac-Man, Street Fighter, and Asteroids, you're going to love this video. So first things first, let's talk about Arcade1UP is all about. Basically, it's a line of high-quality miniature arcade cabinets that you can set up in your own house. Imagine these flashy things going on. These cabinets are about 4 feet tall and come preloaded with your favorite classic arcade games. But the best part? They're super affordable. Wait, this is outdated information. That's crazy. This is from 2021. A lot of people think that setting up a home arcade is going to cost them an arm and a leg, but with Arcade1UP, you can get fully functional arcade cabinets for just a few $100s. Well, with the deals, that's true. And these games are just like the one you would find in the arcade with the same controls and graphics as the original cabinet. It's like stepping back in time and reliving the classic arcade experience all over again. So, if you're a fan of classic arcade games and you just want to add a little bit of nostalgia to your home, I highly recommend checking out Arcade1UP. It's an affordable and fun way to bring the arcade experience home. And if you want to get your hands on your own Arcade1UP cabinet, be sure to click the link in the description with the promo code MrBeast to get a special discount. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. That's what it came up with. Dude, Zohar, I won't know anything about, like, anyone. I did ask the other day, who is Zohar, and it had no clue. Ask it about P-Dubs. He's probably heard of him. Question, Arcade1UP owners, after assembling your game, would you pay someone to assemble your next one? No? I don't think so. I don't think so. Will there be an after Christmas sale on Arcade1UP cabinets? Earlier in the video, I was thinking there probably would be one. So I think I'm assuming this is referring to that. Oh man, I gotta end the show soon. I'm on this diet and I'm supposed to eat every 2 hours, but it's this very small amount. I'm eating like under 1,000 calories every day. And it just hit me hard because I was supposed to eat at 6 my time, and I'm like an hour and a half late from eating. Wow. Hunger is striking me bad. Anyway, seriously, I'm going to have to go. I don't know how else to explain it. I am super hungry, and I need to go resolve that. And then I hope you guys have an awesome night. Hope you have an awesome week. I'm hoping you get some extra time off work, hopefully, and you can spend some time actually playing some of these games in your home arcade. And if you like this video and the chill stream, we're just hanging out after the monologue at the beginning. We're just having a good time. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. And I don't know when we'll stream again. Maybe Wednesday? I think we'll stream again Wednesday. And then maybe next Sunday again. And then 2023, let's do this. JJ says, Happy New Year. Not sure when you stream next is, so let us know. I think Wednesday late night. We'll see. I may do something sooner. I have all this time off, so. And I'm catching up on all my projects. Doing pretty good on my projects, so a little ahead of schedule. Anyway, see you guys. Take care.